Hi guys, I spoke about a lot in this video, a lot. I spoke about books, I spoke about relationships, I spoke about men and how they are frightening right now. The sake of men, masculinity right now is a little bit frightening, I'm gonna be honest with you. A couple other things. So if you want to have a sit down and a chat, grab a little drink, some coffee, some tea, some matcha, some ginger. I love ginger lemon tea. Grab some ginger and lemon tea, or if you want, something a little bit with a kick, grab whatever it suits your taste. Let's get ready together. Just a couple things, housekeeping. This was very stream of consciousness. I'm not the best speaker. I've been told not to preface things by telling people what my flaws are, and I'm trying not to do that, but for this I have to be clear because the speaking I think is going to be a little bit disjointed and erratic. It's a skill that I'm trying to develop, which is why I'm even speaking to camera right now, hoping that it would help me get better at like communicating things that go on in my head and letting them come out in an organized fashion. So I'm not there yet, so just expect a little bit of some confusion, I guess, with the way the ideas are delivered. It's very stream of consciousness. And number two, I keep looking at the viewfinder because it's so awkward to talk to a camera. It's really very awkward. I'm also trying to work on that, but super awkward. But do bear with me. I am getting better at it, and I don't think it was that bad in this video, to be honest, although I just did it a couple times just now. But I'm like checking myself out a little bit. But if you're interested in all the topics I just spoke about, let's get into it. I'm gonna leave, guys. I'm gonna leave. I'm so excited. I'm gonna leave. I'm so excited. I needed a break. I didn't really get any time off in like December. I did a quick trip like during a long holiday or something, long weekend, to go see my family, but for the most part I did not get a break. I was really tired, so I didn't start off the year feeling rested at all. Also, I made myself a very robust New Year's resolution. I did that whole thing of like picture yourself a few years down the line and writing like manifesting, like writing the kind of person that you are at that time. So I pictured myself at 35 and like I wrote all these descriptors about who this woman is at 35, but I wrote them in different spheres of my life. So I wrote who this woman is in terms of in her own body, who this woman is in terms of relationships, platonic and romantic, with family as well. So then I had a different one for family as well. Who this woman is in terms of family, in terms of career, in terms of her personal passions, and what did I call that? Creativity or something. I just wrote all these, like, myself down in all these spheres of my life, or the things that I think I prioritize in my life. And then I took that and like reverse engineered what I need to do to get to that stage, to be that woman. And it was kind of an intensive process. I'm not gonna lie to you. It took a lot of me to get through that. It actually took a couple weeks to finish because I'm like dumbing her down, but I really put a lot of effort into that process of trying to get my life back together, because I just feel like, I mean, if you've seen the first video I posted this year, that I've just like fully lost the plot in terms of finding myself creatively. But what I didn't mention in that video is that I'm like also falling behind in terms of friendships and relationships, or I feel like I'm falling behind. I should feel like, if I were to word being feel like, it's not actually, maybe there is no race, it's life, right? But I just feel like I'm falling behind. So I went through this very intensive couple week soul searching journey, okay? Really trying to put myself together. Then I got back to work. I did this while I was even still at work, and just fell back into my own routines, fully threw myself into my job, which, by the way, I love. So sometimes it's really easy to find yourself immersed into that world because it's something already that I enjoy, that I neglect all these other parts of myself. And because I feel like sometimes I'll get wins in there, I'll use that win as like a win more broadly. So yeah, maybe I failed at calling back a friend that I've been promising to call back for months. But that's okay. Like, did something really cool at work and was really proud of myself. And it's kind of bumming me out. The only thing I'm doing really well at that I promised myself for this year is reading. Yeah, I've been pretty good at reading. I just finished my Feb book. Well, I finished my Feb book already. It's now March. The March book is going a little bit slower. Usually my reading does start. It is a pretty slow process for me because I start heavily judging. Well, I judge books by their covers firstly, so I pick a book because it looks cute. And then maybe I'll read the blurb, but like I'll forget the blurb, like months down the line I'll forget the blurb, and just remember the cover, or remember that the feeling that reading the blurb and the cover gave me when I first bought the book or first got the book. So by the time I get round to reading the book, I've completely forgotten really what the focus of the book was. I just remember the feeling when I got the book, and how I feel about the cover. So I'll go into the book and be like, this is not really what I expected, because by that time my perceptions or my assumptions about the book has changed. And then I'll judge the first couple of chapters very harshly. I'll be like, this is really trash. Why would you start it like this? Or I don't really like storytelling like this. So I just go on and on about things that really, honestly, sometimes don't matter. I start really judging the book harshly in the first few chapters. So it's always a slow beginning for me. I have to stick it out, and then wait until maybe around halfway mark. That's when I have a really good feeling, a really good sense about how the book makes you feel, either, positively or negatively, right? I am struggling with this book. I don't know if it's because the book is really not my cup of tea, or if it's because I'm doing the judgy thing that I usually do. I'm not sure where what that's about right now. I'm just really struggling to get past it. The writing is so... Okay, I'm gonna do a review on that later, so I don't really want to go into that too much. And I don't even think I can go into too much because I haven't really gotten far of the book. It's just going so slowly. I was expecting so the book speaks about a family in the 70s, I believe, or 80s in Tokyo, or Japan rather, and how this family starts to fall apart while the world around them also is forming or something, something else. Externally, internally, there are a lot of changes within this family, and there's a new person in this family that's observing these changes and narrating them to us, which is a cousin that's come to stay over with them because they're a rich family. So she's come to the city to stay with them and go to school, you know what I mean? That kind of deal. So I was expecting to see this interrogation of I don't know, capitalism or something, the history of Japan, some of the terrible things that happened to Japan and because of Japan, you know what I mean? And what the wealthy class, what their experience of that was, what their role in that was, how that works to even further deteriorate the kind of connections that they have. I don't know what. I went in with a lot of assumptions, and the book is a little bit both so far whimsical and simple. The girl, the titular character, she's not the main character, the titular character of the book has a pet pygmy hippopotamus, a pet pygmy hippo that she rides to school. But the book's not a fantasy book. It's meant to be, I'm just not sure how far I'm supposed to suspend my disbelief. If it's just for some of these very small, I can't say too much, but the book is not meeting my expectations, I guess, or I'm not sure what expectations I'm supposed to have of the book. But this is a thing that I struggle with. I don't know if this is something other readers deal with. It's happened my whole life since I was a child. I start a book, I have all these ideas of what the book is going to look like based on the cover, because we all judge books by their cover. Let's be for real. So based on the cover, I have all these expectations of what the book is supposed to be like, what reading it is going to be like, yada yada. Because I have the memory of a goldfish. I'll forget what the blurb would have said about the book. I'll just that would slip my mind. And I'll go on reading it. I'll go on reading it a little bit shocked, ajar, because whatever I had thought versus what I'm reading is not ever like a exact match, very rarely an exact match. And because I would have already gone deep into my mind and started imagining all sorts of things that I thought the book should have been about. When I read Kite Runner, it was like this. When I read Memoirs of a Geisha, I had a different perception. Fiction books, I always have these ideas about the world it's going to take me into. I don't do this with other forms of media. I don't do this with shows. I don't do this with movies. In fact, with shows, I'm often on the right track, accurately predicting where it works. Maybe that's it. Maybe I've learned to read cues from visual media. Reading can be considered visual, right? Because you know what I mean? But whatever. From visual media, like series and shows that aren't the same cue. They don't translate as well to books. I don't know. I don't think that's really it, actually. But I just harshly did. When I was young and I read the Starfire series, if anyone's ever read those books about like space travel, and it was a sci-fi book. I love it. One of my favorite childhood books ever. I loved those books. I loved them so young. And started reading books. I was like, I wasn't expecting sci-fi. Mind you, if I can find a cover of the book, I'll put it on the screen. But I don't know what I expected it to give, honestly. It was a sci-fi book. And I read it, it was a task to read the first half of the first book. And once I burned through the second, once I got past the halfway mark, well, let's say the climax. No, it's usually halfway of the book, actually. It's not even really the climax. I was enthralled. I was fully engulfed in this book, in this book series. I was so obsessed with it. I actually read that book. That's one of the very few books I've read in my life multiple times. I was within. Anyway, I don't know what that's about. I don't know why that is. If other readers have this, I feel like other readers are intelligent and they take time and they're intelligent and is stoic the right word? They have a peace in their mind, a certain serenity that allows them to absorb new information, new topics, develop new worlds with relative ease. Peace and serenity I do not quite have. I am impatient. I am impatient and I should be working on it, but now that I think about it, that's not something I've even focused on. So anyway, I'm gonna read the book. I'm gonna finish the book because I already started it. It's too late to start another one, and I'm currently at home in my family's house for leave. Did I mention I'm gonna leave? I'm gonna leave. Y'all, I'm gonna leave. I have some books, but I've read most of these books. And the rest of them, most of the books I actually took with me. The rest here are other books I love, but they're interior design books, lifestyle books, fashion books and magazines, architecture books, and a lot of fiction books, story books. It's not a lot of story books. So I have to finish that book. I just do. I cannot do the self-help nonfiction. Cannot. Apart from the outliers, I don't think I have any more of those in me. Honestly, y'all keep that. And also I kind of see the type of people it makes, men specifically. But yeah. Anyway, speaking of men, yesterday, to my dismay, I have grown up in a family where there was never a lot of pressure to get married as a girl. I wasn't hearing, oh, when are you gonna get married? I feel like there are people, when they hit 23, family members are already looking for them to start thinking seriously about settling down. I did not have that type of pressure in my family. In fact, I thought I was seen as a baby. My dad kept talking to me about focusing on my career up until last year when I was 27. Still talking about focusing on my career and giving myself space to focus on my career and building my future, So I'd never had that kind of pressure. My mom also never pressured me, but she did think maybe I should have something on the horizon, which for a long time I did. I had a really fulfilling, amazing relationship that didn't stand the 3-year mark. Yeah. But I never had pressure to. There was never a mention of getting married or, that was just not a thing no one in my family had ever mentioned to me. But lately my mom's been really concerned because since that relationship, I haven't had any serious prospects For a while, it was because I didn't want any serious prospect. I was very hard on, I'm not like in any space in my life. And I still don't even really feel like I'm 100% in the space for anything serious. I feel like there is, for me, the biggest thing is really like time. The time that it takes to invest in a relationship, y'all. We don't talk about that enough, but well, we do talk about a lot actually. Relationships are a lot of work. I feel like people enter into it lightly, and I'm not one of those kind of people. I don't easily make that decision, because when I get attached to someone, it's like we're locked in for life. I don't make friends. I make close friends. If we're friends, we're friends. We're locked in. Even if you don't feel it now, you're going to find out eventually. Like, we're gonna be friends for life, and I'm gonna love you down, and you're gonna love me, you know, like it's bonkers. You know what I mean? Like, so I just feel like I wasn't in the space to look for anything serious. You know, my family does obviously expect me to have a family of my own nuclear little family. We have to preserve the nuclear family for middle classery to succeed, or whatever it is. But yesterday, my mom and my aunt gave me a little talk. And by little, I mean a very long, in-depth conversation about opening up to love. Which is not a conversation I expected to be having at this age, because I feel like I'm still a baby. I'm 28. Like, you guys are expecting that in a few I should be looking at getting married. Oh, I don't have my shit together. I'm still on here talking to a camera about how I can't even figure out how to make time to be creative, and now I have to figure out time for a whole other human being. I can barely reply to a WhatsApp message. I didn't expect that was like a thing that was growing in their mind, or concern that they had. And now it's concerning me, because I want my family to be happy, but at the same time, I know it's not something I can offer them for a while. So I'm really concerned now about like relationships. Not that I have to go out and find one, because it's like concerning others. Also, you know, I have friends and family that is concerned that I'm like very harsh to men specifically. I think every day I watch the news, I read these news articles, I'm on TikTok, I'm on social media, I see all these terrible things that are coming out. Like, I see what men are doing to women across the globe, and I see the way that relationships between men and women, you know, within the gender binary are devolving. And I see how young boys are being molded to think about women. I thought the next generation people of cishet men would have like a different like perspective, because of all the knowledge that we have, the efforts that we made to promote empathy. But just in a few years, with the development of the Manosphere and the popularity of certain divisive male characters that are empowered with mic to disempower entire generations of people, I'm honestly really frightened. My fear of what men are capable of has manifested as anger, and I think that's a natural progression, because how can I not feel angry that mere existence on this world is so hated and demeaned, and seen as like, I don't know if I can call it a threat or like a danger. The current state I am, an empowered woman that can go out and make decisions for myself, is seen as something to destroy, a source of disgust for people. How can I not be angry? It would be so nice to just ignore it and keep it pushing, like whatever some men are. I don't even like saying that some men thing, because some sharks don't eat humans, but I'm not jumping in a pool with sharks. And it's not even like you can be a marine biologist and seeing a marine biologist or whatever, and you can tell the difference between a human eating shark and a non-human eating shark, because they all look the same. They all seem the same. The nice guys could kill you. So yeah, I am angry. I don't feel safe in this world. Even as someone that's attracted to men, even if I wasn't attracted to men, I would still like I still have to share space with them, you know what I mean? And their decisions, their hatred, I could ignore and say, oh, whatever, that's their business, that's what they're doing over there. But it manifests in institutions, in policy, in some places, in law. We make space for that kind of brutality against women. I've been following the case of Senator Natasha, and wow, this is a woman in a position of power. A very strong woman, a woman with fighting spirit, clearly. And even still, she was they try to shame her. They try to delegitimize her. They try to make her small to validate the negative experiences that she's experienced. And moreover, women banded together to stand on the side of the accused and claim that Senator Natasha rather is the one that is anti-feminist, that is destroying, that is causing, people like Natasha are the ones that are causing the decay of society and causing women to stay behind or whatever. Guys, I'm not speaking in a very eloquent manner. Not today anyway. That's scary, like, that's really scary. If someone like Senator Natasha is not safe, it's not safe against women, and it's not safe against men, and the women that will cross rivers and move mountains to protect them, and the systems that keep them, that keep men of danger in power, then what's more of me? What more of little girls that grew up in low-income households in rural and remote areas? What more of young girls that are entering universities on bursaries and scholarships, but are, then end up being entwined in sex for marks scandals? What more for young women in war-torn areas that are constantly on the front line of some unspeakable horrors, experiencing it alongside men and boys, and still being further victimized by the men and boys that they're going through these traumatic situations with? What more for a primary school student or a pre-primary school student who is in the class of a sex offender that was acquitted based on a technicality, whatever? What more for all these women? What more for sisters who are brothers to men that have become enthralled in this world of the Manosphere content and are now aspiring to violence and savagery? So yes, I feel like a lot of the time, this conversation is not very eloquent and just coming from the top of my mind, and even really started from something else, from another corner of my head. But I do get this, and I haven't spoken about this in depth. I do get this quite a bit, that like I've become very angry. What else do you expect me to be though? I'm supposed to take it all smiling? I need lip gloss. I don't know if I'm supposed to expect it to take this all smiling or take it all lightly or keep myself open in case another man is on the horizon that might love me and treat me with respect. Why do we still prioritize them so much in our lives when they can cause us this much harm because of how much we pedestalize them? Is that even a word? I feel like that's part of the problem. This idea that women should aspire to marriage, they should aspire to commitment to these men, to servitude to a man, you can have a man and you're gonna give him a child. No, he's gonna give you a child. You're gonna give him a child, okay? And he's gonna provide for you. You can, even though I'm working, but you are an independent woman, you can work and provide, and you prove yourself to him that you are also a strong woman that can work and provide. And then you can also come home and clean and look after the children. Whoa. Why are we aspiring to servitude and commitment to people that benefit from a system that directly works to disempower and disenfranchise us, or just harm us? At best it neglects us, at worst it causes us a damage and puts us in direct danger. I'm quite frightened. Like, it's really very scary. It's very scary out there. I also, outside of the fact that I felt like I wasn't ready for a long time, over the years I think I found myself in this space where I'm also like cool on it. Like, I'm frightened quite frankly, from just the way it's structured, from little things like how they expect a wife to constantly perform to prove what they bring to the table. You have to prove that you are in a world, you know, for some people independent, for some people not independent but subservient. You have to prove that you can cook, you can clean, you can be a homemaker, you can take unpaid labor on the chin and do it with a smile on your face and still come back home and massage his feet. You can work every day, you can wear heels and be attracted to other men so that they can also show off, yes, this is my wife, but not too attractive, still modest enough that they can also show you off for being virginal, I guess. Come back home and prepare a full meal and look after them completely. They take the children are theirs, it's part of their legacy. It's although you do all the raising, although you're in charge primarily of raising the child, if a daughter fails or if a son fails in any way, it's the mother that has destroyed them. I have to take them from the mother. The mother's destroying them. The mother's raising weak boys. The mother's raising whatever. Raising weak boys, which also I think is another reason why women also feel like they have the need to encourage some really behaviors from men, so that from their sons, so that their sons grow up to be strong men and come and terrorize the rest of us over here. Or they're raising horse or daughters, or girls that don't listen, or girls that are nonsense. But if she does well, oh, that person's then they'll go by the surname, Smith's child, or Zulu's child, or Zulu's children are so brilliant, you know. The mother doesn't really factor into that case. I guess it's like, oh, well done, kind of, but kind of as an afterthought. So that's like the lowest end of the spectrum, again, not speaking very eloquently. Then the opposite end of the spectrum is that we can be raped and killed in the streets. We can be beaten, assaulted, raped, and killed. We can be taken and kept as slaves, seen as property. Bodies are completely our bodies are controlled completely by men or the patriarchy. Our decisions are limited based on what the patriarchy deems acceptable. How can I not be angry? How can I not be angry? This is not the future I promised myself, or that I think my parents want from me. And yet I have to share the world with people that have the power to make decisions that can directly harm me and other women like me. Yeah, guys, I'm getting right. It's not fair. It's not okay. And I'm angry. Of course I am. Anyway, despite admitting that I am angry, I am all about positivity and trying to create something good out of tricky situations. I feel a little bit stuck though with this one, because I feel like it's my present reality and the reality of many women, and I think we're taking massive steps back with all the progress feminists before us have fought tooth and nail to make reality for us, for all the privileges that we enjoy, or I wouldn't even say privileges, rights that we enjoy as people, the personhood that we have. We're quickly, I feel like, undoing some of that progress, and I just feel a little bit stuck and hurt and mad about it all, and also afraid. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like I said, it's very scary out there. Do appreciate you sitting here with me. If you've watched it to this part, I mean, babes, you've watched the whole thing. We're locked in now. You know what I said about not making friends? I make close friends, I make besties. Me and you, we're together for lifers. Yeah, thanks for chatting with me. This was actually kind of therapeutic. I do feel like crying. Can't lie. I might go and journal a little bit. And I'm not saying I hate to do this, because I feel like it diminishes the argument, and I don't know why men want to hear this not all men thing. If you're not it, if the shoe doesn't fit, why are you putting it on? Now you are suspect. Of course not all men. Of course not all men, but I'm not going to be walking around with you guys and pretending like I said earlier, I know which sharks is safe to swim with. I don't. You know, there are men in my lives that I think are friends that I think are admirable, but at the same time, majority of the people I've met on the pipeline, down the manosphere, all prone to operate. I just have like a very normalized, very casual, misogynistic air about them. I'm trying to find a positive way to end this because I want to be positive. I do want to be positive, but I can't right now, and that's just the truth. Every day we take it one day at a time, and this is how I feel today. Like I said, I'm gonna tear up later. I'm gonna cry, even though I just did my makeup. I don't like it that much, but I'm pretty on time. And I'm gonna journal a bit. I'll work through some of these feelings and try and find a very safe way to exist around dudes. But for now, thanks for joining me and listening to me yap. I swear I keep looking at myself. I'm so sorry, y'all. I'll look at you next time, promise. It's just I'm talking to myself, and it's either look at a human face right back at me, a beautiful one at that, or look at this camera, and it feels really awkward. But I'm gonna get better at it. Bisous. Bye. Bisous. Bye. It's great chatting to you, and chat soon maybe.